Hey guys, the first thing I want to do is calm you. The plant behind me has not grown. I mean, it has grown, but it's not like massively bigger than it was before. I just got a laptop stand, and so my computer is sitting higher, and so you are looking at me from a different angle, and so this looks way bigger than it has in previous videos. It's okay. I'm okay. Um, I want to talk. So the idea today is I'm going to talk a little bit about what life and finance looks like when you turn 65 ish. You can manipulate these dates by a few years. You can go 5 years earlier, you can go to 60, or you can go 6 years later at the age of 71. What does money, what does cash flow look like at the age of 65? Particularly for somebody who doesn't necessarily have a pension or that kind of thing. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get CPP. And now CPP is contributory, so you get a percentage of what you've earned. This is where it can bite actors in the ass a little bit. If you're deducting your income on your taxes down to next to nothing and you're making 10 grand a year or something like that on paper, that will come back to bite you when it comes time to collect CPP, because CPP is contributory, and the more you pay in, the more you get out. I don't remember the calculation for what CPP is offhand, but I think it's something like the average of your best 10 years or the average of your best 5 years or something like that, and they will exclude your lowest X number of years, or something like that. Generally speaking, a typical CPP income is somewhere between $500 a month and I think on the high end you'd make about 12 or $1,300 a month, and that would be indexed for inflation, so you would get the equivalent of that today. That's the first thing that comes in. The second thing that comes in is called old age security, and old age security is it's less. It's not something you contribute. So this is not something that will. If you haven't earned a lot of money in your working years, this won't affect you that much. Or it won't come back to bite you as hard on old age security. Old age security is paid out to CPP eligible people age 65 or older, and if you defer it until age 71, you can defer it for any number of years, and if you defer it, your payment is slightly higher. It's about another $600 a month or so. The way old age security works is you get it up until, unless you make, I think the number is 75 or so $1,000 a year. At $75,000, they start clawing it back a little bit, and if you make about 140, 130, 150 thereabouts, it will go away completely. So it is more designed for people who need the help. That's what I want to communicate with this, is that a lot of people think, holy shit, how am I ever going to, if and when work stops coming, how am I ever going to survive? And CPP and old age security, while they're not going to float you, call it $1,000 a month indexed for inflation. So if your expenses today are ballpark, I'm going to throw out a number and just kind of suggest. Anyway, let's say your expenses are ballpark somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 a month. Well, CPP and old age security under this hypothetical situation throw half of that at you, give or take. So your job is not to cover 100% of your expenses. Your job is to cover 60% of your expenses or 70% of your expenses. There are other things available. If you're really low income, there's something, I'm not going to get into that. I think that's overcomplicating it. The two things I really wanted to talk about were CPP, Canada Pension Plan, which is contributory, and old age security, which is contributory in the sense that you have to be CPP eligible, but non-contributory in the sense that it doesn't matter how much you've paid in taxes over the years. It just matters that you are a Canadian person who's paying taxes. Reach out if you have questions. These are things that we do need to think about. And part of developing a financial strategy is figuring out, okay, do I take that? You're eligible to take it at the age of 60 and it'll be reduced. You're eligible to take it at 65 and it will be what we just talked about now. If you defer to the age of 71, you're not collecting money for 6 years, which sucks, but the payment is bigger 6 years later, which is great. Lining up collecting from an RRSP with when you start taking CPP and when you start taking old age security, that's part of financial planning. I love you all. Talk soon.